Today we're going to be answering the question, is the Comandante Red Clix worth it? The Red Clix axle allows one step in between the click adjustments on it for extra space in between grind settings, so you can go a little more fine adjusting for, say, a light roasted espresso is what it claims to do. So we're going to be installing and reviewing the Red Clix today and comparing them, whether it's worth the $45 upgrade for the Commandant. But before we do that, I just want to say welcome to Cabin's Coffee Corner. This channel is designed to help you choose the gear you want to brew with at home. You'll find a lot of reviews and comparisons and opinions on this channel of what gear I think is best to purchase for the home user. My goal is to purchase it for you and review it so you can make one purchase and be happy with it. If you'd like to support this channel, please consider purchasing your gear by using the links in the description below. Those links I'll make a slight commission at no extra charge, which will provide the opportunity for me to purchase more gear to review for you guys. I also would ask that you please like and subscribe. That really helps me continue to produce content and have the budget to go make videos for you guys. And subscribing really does help, and it shows that a lot of people that watch my videos don't currently subscribe, so I please ask that you do that. And lastly, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, feel free. It's Cabin's Coffee Corner, and you can follow me there. So let's dive into it. These came from Double Shot Coffee in, I believe, Tulsa, Oklahoma. This was the only place I could really find the Red Clix. It's got this nice little, like, almost looks like it's about to blow up important Red Clix letter here, and we got some screws, bolts. We have the axle right here. We have the new red dial, and we have a Commandant rubber band bracelet, or this is actually what I've really been hoping for to get with the Commandant to help with grinding a little bit. It is a little rubber band that slides around here, so it gives you a little bit more grip. So to simply install these Red Clix, you go to the bottom here and unscrew this, so basically turn it toward the coarser side while the handle is on. That is very important to do. And eventually you'll get to the part where it comes off, and you have your burr set there, a couple screws. Then you pull the axle out with the handle on, and you will find two little washers here. One's inside a little bit more. Oh, there you go. It just pops out right there, so you might need to give it a little knock on the table. Then you have your base of your Commandant. It'd be good to give it a little cleaning with a brush if you have one and you haven't already. So we're going to simply just take this Red Clix axle here, very similar to the normal axle. It looks like it has tighter threading on the bottom there, and that's what makes it a little bit more significant to add some more adjustments. So we're going to put in all of the new pieces here. So we're going to put all of this to the side. And how we're going to be testing this is I took shots of espresso and pulled them on a Flare 58 with the Smart Espresso Profiler. This was paired with a Lunar Akaya scale, and the Smart Espresso Profiler makes graphs of pressure and flow rate, so time, weight, output, input, all of that stuff is on there. So to allow me to pull the exact same shot from back to back, so I can start and measure the time of, say, click 11 on the Commandant and then click 10 on the Commandant and see the difference between the shots in simply time and see how much of a leap that makes in adjustments. And then I'm going to go back and do the same thing, except I'm going to do it with the Red Clix, which is going to give a little bit more adjustments in there. So you're going to start by putting this top washer here, and then you are going to slip in the new Red Clix axle, and if you get these mixed up like I just did, it's the one with the closer threads here. You're going to slide that through, and this is going to make it a little bit easier to get that second washer in. And then you're going to simply take the washer, and there's two sides to this washer. There's one side with a little ring and one side without a little ring. The little ring goes on the inside toward the ball bearing here, so you're not going to see that little ring as you push it down over the Red Clix axle. Then you're going to take, it came with brand new everything here, so we're going to remove the old spring and place the old spring on the burr set and simply slide that burr set back on. Lid on. I noticed with the Commandant, I really like the lid color. That's the more clear plastic. It helps you see how many beans are left. And then you're going to have to push down on the burr while adjusting it to the fine setting and you'll hear a bunch more clicks. So basically, this is how this works. For the standard Comandante Clix, if you had a, say you're brewing a V60 on 24, you would move that setting to 48 clicks for the Red Clix. So it's going to double the number. So anything you were brewing traditionally, you're just going to simply have to double that number for Red Clix. So Red Clix could be kind of a pain for if you only do pour overs and you constantly counting 46 clicks or 56 clicks or wherever you're at for pour overs is a lot in comparison to the already big number of 24 in my opinion. For espresso, this is really where it shines. It gives you the more precise measurements that you need for espresso and allow you to pull more consistent shots and really dial that in a little bit better. So there we have it. That is installed. So I'm going to go brew some more shots. We're going to do a lot of comparisons, and I'm going to come back with the results and with some SEP graphs to kind of help you along the way on whether or not this was the right decision to pay this $50 for this add-on of this already expensive $250 grinder. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, actually this one was $275 because of the color wood. If I'm not mistaken, it is going up in price. I saw at Prima Coffee it's listed at $350 now. I'm not sure why the price jumped so much, and we're going to talk about that more later on in a different video. But let's go ahead and brew some shots and see if this was worth it. Welcome to my very messy kitchen. I'm going to do my best to show you the routine that I'm doing to make espresso for this comparison with the Commandant. So I'm going to start with the Flare 58. Here you can see in the corner I got the SEP Profiler by Cafe Camar Naked Portafilter or Naked Espresso. I always forget this, but Gabauer made this, and it's a very useful thing where it gives you charts for your espresso. We got the Kyle Lunar scale here at the bottom, which is all connected to an app. Stag EKG set to 212. Flare is at the hottest it can be at. I have the Home Blend by Archetype Coffee, which is a local coffee that I do my best to support local business because they do a really good job of making coffee and getting me what I need for learning and growing and things like that. For my tamper, I have the I have the Seminomo Essentials espresso set. So it came with this tamper and this little tamping stand here, standard portafilter with the screen for 58 here. I will dose into a funnel into the portafilter, and I will do WDT Weiss distribution technique with these this little 3D printed thing that I won in a contest on Facebook. It's really great. I'll leave a link into that. I did win this for free, but nobody's paying me to do this. So I already got my Commandant grind at setting 20 with the Red Clix, so you can get a little bit of an idea there. I knock it on the table a little bit to loosen up those grounds. Throw my portafilter inside this little cradle to hold it here. Trying to do my best to make this look as presentable as possible. Drop the funnel in, unscrew that. I did definitely notice I used a rubber band for the first grind, and it was great. So let that in there. Quite a few clumps in there, so what the WDT method does is it breaks up those clumps with these 5 acupuncture needles. I think I think they're 0.20 millimeters or something like that. They're really small needles. I have a bigger one too as well, but I think I prefer this one. So this just gives me a nice even bed of grounds to tamp on. If you can see that a little bit there, it's pretty even. I'm going to see if I can bring it up to the camera a little closer without spilling it at all in there. If you can see that at all, that's a pretty even bed. There's no clumps or anything like that. I'll give it one little small knock to even it out and tamp as level and as even as possible. I'm just going to compress the grounds here. I'm not aiming to tamp super hard. Give it a little twirl, and we got a nice clean bed that's fairly even. Not perfect, but fairly even. I'm still working on my tamp, to be honest. I do this at home, and I've never worked at a coffee shop, so I'm still learning in here. And we'll lift that up here, lock in the portafilter, lift that, and add the hot boiling water in there. The cup that I'm using is a not neutral cup. It's a cappuccino cup, but I've pulled probably close to 20 shots comparing these. And what we're not doing today is we're not comparing the shot quality of the Commandant. We're really just kind of seeing how much more adjustment do you get with the Red Clix over the standard Commandant. So I got my iPhone here. I'm going to pull up the Smart Espresso Profiler app, and I'm going to do my best to follow similar charts of what I've already done here, doing my best to pull a similar shot of espresso compared to what I did, so I can really give an idea of what I have here. So this would be setting 10 on a normal Commandant, 20 on the Red Clix. So I'm going to go ahead and pull down on my lever, and I'm going to ramp up to about 10 bars of pressure, and I'm just going to leave it there. And we're just going to see how well that goes. And that did not go very well at all. And I did 52 grams in about 10 seconds. So we're going to have to dial in quite a bit more. I'm going to have to find it up. But that's my process. I'll see you in the next stage of the video here shortly. So I've been waiting for the Commandant Red Clix combo for a year or so. My plan was to originally get a hand grinder, use it for a while, and then upgrade to a niche 0 or something along that lines, and then use the Commandant solely for pour over. Things changed, and I ended up managing to get my hands on a niche before I did the Commandant, and that's just kind of how things were. But I finally got it, finally compared it, pulled a lot of shots here, and I want to go over these 4 charts that I have. The 2 that you'll see right off the bat is 1 click apart on the standard axle. So we'll see that on the right hand column of the screen, you'll see like 37.8, 18, 1.6, and 210%. And then you'll also see 37.1, 18.7 flow rate, and 206% with a graph here. So the red line explains the amount of bars of pressure through the entire time. The dark line is the line of the flow rate. So I typically aim for 200% brew ratio for consistency. That's how I've always done it. Yes, there's a lot of other options to do it, but that's how I prefer my shots, and I just like to compare beans at that specific time. So I go for 18 grams of coffee in and tamped, and then I aim for about 36 grams out, as close to possible as that. So a 1 to 2 brew ratio, or 200% of the coffee that I put in will come out. So if we look at it, I ended that first shot at roughly 25 seconds, give or take. I ended the second shot at about 50 seconds. So we're looking at 20 to 25 second difference between 1 click and a shot of espresso. To me, that's really, really significant, and it makes it really, really hard to dial in espresso without that. Moving on to the next one, I didn't do as great with this one in my shot pulling, but you'll see a weight of 39.3 and a weight of 35.4. So I'm going to compensate a little bit on the math here to kind of help these. I jumped up to 15 bars on the first one just briefly, and then down to 13, and I carried out 11. The reason I did that is I pulled a lot of shots here. I probably pulled 20 or so shots with this Commandant. That's a lot of hand grinding, and I was just getting tired, and I'm trying to figure out just the gap weight difference. So it looks like we're at 22 seconds is what I'm getting for the weight of 39. And then switching and doing 1 click finer jumps me from 25 to 35. So we're at about a 10 to 12 second difference in there between 1 click adjustment. To me, that makes it really difficult to pull shots of espresso. Fair warning, in this entire video, I filmed this all in 1 day. So I got the Red Clix, installed them, and then tested this out. I haven't had these for more than probably 4 or 5 hours of using this to test these videos and get these comparisons. But with all those shots, I got drinkable shots of espresso. But I didn't get the fine tweaking that I would hope to. And it bums me out a little bit because this grinder is currently at $275 is what I paid for it, plus another $45-50 bucks for Red Clix, which totals it to be about $325. And it says on this that it gives you an additional step between the two standard clicks. So like if you're at 20, like it allows you to go from like 10 to 11 like on a standard one, but it'd be like a 10.5, but they changed that to 21 clicks. They just double the amount of numbers there. And they said this might be helpful if you want to optimize extraction time for a particularly light roasted specialty espresso shot. The target particle resolution is 15 microns per click. I'm assuming that prior to the Red Clix it was 30 micron per click. I don't know much about the microns and stuff like that, but there's something that you get when you get click adjustments like this. You really can't fine tweak it. And as I was looking at these charts and seeing this Smart Espresso Profiler really give me the data on it, to me, I don't think the Red Clix were worth it for espresso. If I would have got this a year ago and made the decision on this hand grinder, I don't think I would have been that happy for it. However, I have other friends who utilize this Commandant with Red Clix, and they use the Flare Pro 2 all the time. One of the nice things with that in like a Flare espresso machine with it is you get that manual control over it, so you can let up on pressure, you can pre-infuse, and you can utilize the different abilities of flow profiling in order to compensate for the lack of grind settings and the lack of fine tweaking you get on the Commandant. I think you could get by and make good shots of espresso. I don't have a question about that, but I think it's just going to be very finicky and very difficult in my comparison of my quick use of it and compared to some of the other grinders that I've used. I recently compared this with Air Grind and a Kinu, and I'm going to go back to comparing this with the Kinu, so I'm not going to dump too much into that video. But things like the Air Grind, I have more stepless adjustments on it. Granted, I used a 58 millimeter profile 58 millimeter portafilter, standard commercial size when brewing with this. When I did the Air Grind, I think I was using the Flare Classic at the time, so you could grind a little bit coarser. But I felt like I could get a better shot more consistently with that one, the Air Grind, at half the price point than this. However, I think if I get it to line up just right, I think this is going to produce a really good shot. I had some pretty decent drinkable shots here, but I just couldn't fine tweak it the way that I want to. But I'm also have the privilege of using a lot of stepless adjustments like the Baratza 270WI, the Kinu M47 Classic, the Niche Zero, the DF Turn, all those things that have more control over the grind setting here. So personally, Red Clix, they're for people who really want to get the most out of this grinder. I think it is a huge improvement on it in having that double the amount of grind settings extra. If you're pretty new to coffee or fairly into coffee, maybe don't get the Red Clix right off the bat and you're mainly doing pour over, things like that, because it does add a lot more counting to the clicks, which I already find the click counting to be a little bit annoying on this. Just personal preference, but it does get the job done, and counting 40 versus 20 is just a lot more work on that. So maybe upgrade down the road. I thought this was a very interesting thing. I talked to a local shop and asked them, like, why don't they carry the Red Clix? And he said because for the average home user, they won't need them. And then they specifically said, for you, you're a different case because of the gear that you have and the gear that you use and the expectations you have. But if you want a good, solid pour-over, you're going to be happy with the Commandant without Red Clix. If you are like getting really, really into this, you want to fine-tweak things just as much to get the best extraction possible out of a pour-over, get the Red Clix. They'll make a difference and it'll be worth it to you. Or if you're trying to get into espresso a little bit, and you're planning on keeping this, maybe using it as a backup, as a pour-over grinder, things like that down the road, you could maybe get by with espresso, but I wouldn't be as happy with it as some of the other choices on the market today. So I hope you found this video helpful. Like I said, if you're looking at purchasing anything, please use the link in the description below. And lastly, please like and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching and supporting me as a YouTuber.